Hey lovelies, this is Terri Wheat. I wanted to take things more basic than I have ever done before, especially I have a lot of new clients who are new customers and completely new to Seint makeup, and it's a different way of doing things than we've done before, because women have always done like squirt some goo or with the nozzle put some goo on and put like a flat face, all one color over their entire face with their foundation. And Seint does it a different way. Usually you'll have 4 colors. I have more for color correctors and different looks. But usually you'll have a brightening highlight, a main highlight, a contour, and then I almost always recommend a bronzer too. And that's what gives you the 3D look. It gives the dimension to your face. It helps sculpt your face, and it looks so much better, so much more beautiful. But it's a different way. And so I know when you get your compact, whatever, a lot of people size up and get one with room to grow, but you at least get 4 colors usually. And I know it can be intimidating. I know sometimes I have clients who've seen all of my videos and where I'm doing the demos on my face, but then when they get their colors, it still feels a little intimidating, especially some of you beautiful ladies have no makeup experience at all. And so if you've never done makeup, I'm sure it's even more intimidating. And so I've talked about how to HAC, H-A-C, which stands for highlight and contour your face before, and I've demoed that a number of times, but I want to put more into the explanation this time to take it back to the basics in a way that kind of explains to you what we're doing with each step and why and how and where, not just where, but the thought process behind where it goes, so that you can kind of adjust it to your face, and so that it's not just a structured way you do this, this, and this, that you're trying to remember the steps. I feel like this will help you more fully understand it better. And so we'll go ahead and start with my main highlight. And if you haven't been color matched yet, we do a custom color match for anyone who wants to get started and be a client. And so I have you send me a makeup-free selfie standing in front of a natural light window, and so I can see the skin tones and undertones and the different things that you have going on with your skin. And then I will give you your custom color match, which will tell you what would be the perfect main highlight, the perfect brightening highlight, the perfect contour, and whether or not you need bronzer, whether or not you need a color corrector. And so if you haven't done that yet, reach out to me. I'd love to work with you, and I'll be with you every step of the way. So my main highlight, and I use a couple of them sometimes like in the winter, I'm a lot more pale, or I may have redness and feel like I need to go in one direction. And then in the summertime, when I have a little more color to my skin or a little bit of a tan, I may go in a little darker direction. And so it sometimes changes depending on the season and depending on what's going on with my skin and what kind of look I want to get. But the one that I use most often, and the one that I'm going to use today, is amber. And so that is this one. And a lot of times, some women start with their contour. And I will say again that there is no set way that you have to do your makeup. You don't have to do them in the same steps, in the same order. I want you to do it in the way that makes most sense to you and feels most comfortable and works for how you want to do your routine. So some people lay the contour first, so that because it's kind of a paint by number system where you don't have to have 4 different layers on top of your skin. You put the contour in one spot, the main highlight in a different spot, the brightening highlight in a different spot, and so it's not just layered up on each other. And so some people will lay the contour so that you can see everywhere else you can put the main highlight if you want. But I'm going to explain this to you. So a lot of times I say in my videos that you want to do like a pregnant eye, like the letter I. shape for your main highlight. And so I say the top column here the middle column here, I say pregnant because I bring it out a little bit, and then the bottom of the column here. So just a letter I, and I thought that that would make it the easiest for you to remember, but I want to explain. So what we're doing with the main highlight, the purpose of it is to kind of neutralize and even out your skin tone. So as you can see, I did kind of a glam eye today. The freckles that I have and the different issues I have with my skin, pink, red, all the different colors come into play. It kind of brings out everything and it looks kind of wacky. And so whether you're wearing eye makeup or not, the purpose of the main highlight, similar to foundation, is to just neutralize things so that you don't have all of these colors kind of fighting each other and looking a little mottled. And so I'm gonna take that amber and I'm gonna use my blend brush today. I have a number of brushes I use for my skin. Right now, this one is my favorite, but it just depends on what my need is. If I have more texture one day, I'll use my buff brush. And if I want a heavier coverage or a lighter coverage, this may change. But this is the one I'm using today. I've said before, you can absolutely use your fingers. You can also use our perfector sponge to blend out your colors. My favorite are the brushes because I feel like they give the most airbrushed finish, and so that's what I like to use. And so basically, I'm not even going to tell you to do the pregnant eye today. Everyone's face is different, and so the purpose of this is to even out your skin tone. And so I basically, the way I came up with the pregnant eye is because I'm thinking about in my own skin where the most coverage is that I need. So I have a lot of like purplish, reddish tones down at the bottom of my chin. I have it around my nose as well, have it in between my eyebrows, and then I have freckling and some shadows and things up here along my forehead. And so that's where I want to center my coverage. Now, I already know that I'm gonna have my lip and cheek color here, so I don't need to put that. If you have a really bad sunspot or melasma or rosacea or something that you need to cover, then absolutely, if it's bad enough, you can go ahead and color correct that. And we've talked about that if you're one of my clients, exactly how you'll do it, exactly what color you need to do that, and you will start with your color correcting. I don't have anything that is dark enough that the makeup won't cover to my liking, so I usually don't have to really color correct unless I have an acne breakout or something like that. So you would start with the color correcting and kind of look to where a lot of the color and things that you want coverage and camouflage to hide, but you know you don't have to put it here unless you have something where you need that extra double layer of coverage that it is going to show through your lip and cheek and bother you. You wouldn't need to put it right under your cheek because you're going to be putting contour here. We'll show that in a minute. And then you're also going to be putting contour around your face. And so those areas will be covered with another color. So just to keep that in mind. So I'm going to start with this amber color. And I'm going to start with my chin. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I start with my nose, but I'm just going to go ahead and start with the bottom. And a lot of people make the mistake of, especially in the beginning, of going too heavy with the creams because you're used to putting a lot of goo on your skin when you use a liquid foundation, but it really goes very, very far. A little dab will do you. And so you do not have to cake it on. And so it spreads out. It's made with beeswax. It's a cream and it spreads out and blends really nicely and blends into your skin, melts into your skin. And so you don't need as much as you may think in the beginning. Okay, and then do you see how that evened out? It's not got all the blotchiness and the mottled look of the purple and the red and the kind of weirdness. It's kind of balanced out. Do you see the difference between my chin area and my nose? My nose still has all of those little purple dots and I don't even know what they are, but just the discolorations of skin that I feel like do definitely worsen as you get older. And so we already balanced this out, and so I'll go up to my nose. It's a very colorful spot on my face, and you can already see that it is hiding that like a magic wand. And so I just kind of swirl and blend that color out. I don't even put it on. I do like a light coverage, maybe medium, sometimes light to medium coverage. And I just put on enough to where when I swirl and blend, it blends it out to my liking. Some people like a full coverage and they don't want to see any freckles, anything at all. And you can definitely go heavier and use the buff brush and get that, but I don't mind some freckles showing and my skin to look kind of natural, like it's not completely covered up. And so I just tackled this whole nose area. So now I have all of this, that's my pregnant part of my eye that I talk about, covered, because that's where I needed coverage. Next, I'll move up. I do have always some pinkness between my brows, and so I'll go ahead and put a little there. Now, you wouldn't even, if you don't have any pinkness, which a lot of people do, we will be putting the brightening highlight here in a minute. And so if you like a really light coverage and you don't have any pinkness or anything to cover there, then you can even skip this part of your main highlight. Because if you don't need that coverage and camouflage, then you're already going to be putting your brightening highlight. And so I just have some redness around my brows a little bit, and a little bit of that kind of modeling color that kind of makes my skin tone look not very pretty and not very even. And so I'm just kind of evening that out. Sometimes if I feel like I have a lot of freckling or sun damage going on up here, especially in the summer where the sun brings that out even more, the melanin, and makes it darker, sometimes I will go ahead and put a layer of coverage of my main highlight up here, even though I know I'll also be going over it with my bronzer and my contour. It's not really bad right now, and so it's not bothering me, so I won't mess with that. And so now we have taken care of most of the modeling and the excess of color that I have going on. If you look at the side of my face, the difference between the parts that I have already neutralized and corrected, even though I don't have a ton of color up here, it kind of shows up when I leave this bare in comparison to this. So much like when I have glam or darker eyes, it brings out even more so the modeling and the different colors in my skin. When I have this evened out, it kind of, you can definitely distinguish the difference. And so even though I don't have a lot going on the bottom of my cheeks, I go ahead and cover it just so it's evenly coated and blends in with the rest of my face, so that it's this pretty coverage that's even all across my face. I do always have some pinkness over on my cheeks, which is pretty natural for a lot of people, and I go ahead and blend it towards that, but I don't need to cover it because I'm going to be putting on blush. I like a blush look, and so it's fine to have some color there. So you don't have to worry, unless you have rosacea or something, about necessarily covering every bit of the pink rosiness on your cheeks. That's natural. So, but I am going to go ahead and blend it out because I don't want an area here between the cheek color and this main highlight. I don't want any mottled area. I want it all to just kind of seamlessly blend together and work. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this other side. I have some melasma, I think it is, freckling something along here, that sometimes will make my contour look like it's drooping a little and make it look like my cheeks are drooping a little. Sometimes it shows up a little more than others. And so sometimes I will cover that up, even though I'm gonna be putting the contour there, and sometimes I won't mess with it. But I'm basically just wherever I feel like I need coverage and camouflage, I'm just putting a really light layer. And then again, if I leave this completely uncovered with my veins and with my natural skin tone in comparison to the part that already has the main highlight, it will stick out. It's like if you have a white house and it needs painted, and if you painted half of your house with the brand new white paint, then you're going to see the difference, because even though it's fairly clean over here and it's white, you're still gonna see the difference between the coated side. And it's like that with your skin. And so you just want everything to even out. And so I'll cover those veins and kind of make my skin coverage kind of even out with everything. And then I'll go ahead and blend up just a little, just to take that coverage up just a tad. Okay, so we're looking much better. It's still not complete. If you were just wearing foundation, you would stop there, and many women do stop there. We'll do a brightening highlight next. And let's see, today, let's go with linen. And that's this one. I often use linen if I have kind of a more glam look going on, because it gives you extra brightening and it makes everything pop more, and it makes my makeup and my eyes pop more. If I want to keep it really subtle and I'm having like a really light and natural look, I'll go with the white peach. Sometimes I will go with the sunlit, and so again, it depends on the look I'm going for. I'm just gonna switch around the same brush. That's one of the wonderful things about our brushes, is that they're all double-ended, and so they're really high quality. You're getting 2 brushes for the price of 1. I use all of my brushes, and I use nearly all of them every single day. So they all give a different look, a different finish. And so I'll put that linen. And here is the thinking behind where we will put our brightening highlight. So we already have our main canvas, our main layer of paint on to kind of even out anything, so that we have kind of a blank neutral canvas. And then we are going to put this brightening highlight on the areas where you want light accents. It's the area where if you had really strong lights on you, that it would kind of naturally give you a little shine, a little extra light if you were painting or something. And so we're gonna put that here between my brows and right here. And it just helps to kind of brighten your face. And even though you're not going to necessarily pick it out and see that, oh, she has a lighter color there, you're not going to be able to tell that at all, but it just gives that little extra layer of dimension, because you have more light reflecting here on the areas where we're putting this. And then you have the backdrop of the main highlight, then we'll add the contour, which is going to add the shadows, and it's going to pull everything together. And so this is good because not only does it bring the light close to the center of my face, and it gives me that bright highlight that kind of wakes me up and brightens my whole face, but it also gives me a little extra coverage, a little extra camo, so that I don't have to go super heavy with my main highlight there. I put my brightening highlight on my lids and on my eyes normally now. I already did that before I did my makeup. Whether I'm gonna wear eye makeup or not, it's really important, because you have veins, you have modeling, you have different colors on your eyelids, and you don't realize how much prettier and better it looks to give yourself a blank canvas and to cover that up. And so whether you are using eye makeup or not, it wakes your eyes up. It looks so much better, so much prettier. And then also, if you're gonna cover that up with eye shadows, the reason you're doing that is because it also primes your eyelid. I used to use a very expensive eyeshadow primer. Not really expensive, but at first it seemed like it was kind of expensive because I thought, you know, why am I doing this? But the thing with eyeshadow primers is that it makes the pigments in your eyeshadows pop more and stand out. It makes them look more pigmented. Also, it keeps your colors from muddying throughout the day. It keeps you from creasing, and you know, if you don't have eyeshadow primer, your eyeshadows just kind of muddy together, and it's just kind of a neutral, muddy kind of color, and everything kind of, you know, between you opening and closing your lids throughout the day, it just kind of mushes together a little bit, and it doesn't look as good 8 to 12 hours later as it did when you first put it on. But when you prime your eyelids first, then it keeps that, and it helps it to like stick to it and stay put. And so it makes things pop, it helps it not to crease, and it helps it to stay put. And so it's important. So you would also put the brightening highlight on both of your eyelids and eyes, and then I'll go ahead, and this is gonna be a big difference. Even though I don't have really dark under eyes, you're gonna see a big difference, especially if you are wearing eyeshadow, because again, it brings out the other colors in your skin. And especially if you have dark colors on, this is going to hide all of your under eye circles or darkness that you have. If you have really dark or colorful under eyes, then, you know, I would have recommended a color corrector to you. Or your skin changes. If your skin, when we first did your color match, you know, your under eye circles weren't that bad, but then your health changes and your age changes, and 3 years later you decide that, yes, I need a color corrector, then we can add it in. But as you can see, the difference between the two, it really brightens up and wakes up this half of my face, and it covers up the under eye stuff that I have going on, and it's just a better look, and it just kind of finishes things off. And so I put that under my under eye, where some of you already wear concealer, and then I take it down along the side of my nose and kind of in this wedge shape, because that further increases the light, the glowing light reflected part, to be in this center part of your face. That's where you want the light to reflect, and then the rest of it will just kind of flow backwards from that. So we'll do that on both sides. Okay, and then we'll take it down the center of my nose. Let me go with my detail brush, the smaller end, because that's a little smaller. And we'll take that and make that highlight go down the center of my nose. And then sometimes I go ahead and put a little here at my Cupid's bow, because it just makes your upper lip appear to be larger. And then sometimes, not always, just to kind of finish it, I'll put it at the top of my chin, just to kind of have that light reflect and hit and highlight the center of your face. And that's all for brightening highlight. So then I like to do the bronzer next and put the contour over that. and I use my blush and bronzer brush. It is my favorite for the bronzer. The bronzer is the best I've ever used. I have used many bronzers throughout the years of many brand names. I've spent a lot of money. I've bought really high-end ones. I've bought lower-end ones, and this is my favorite. It is not only a beeswax cream like our makeup, but it is a beautiful color, and it is the closest that I have found like a natural kind of suntanned look, but even better than that because it's like a stain, a glow. You know, it's not just a full opaque coverage. It's a stain that's a little bit sheer. It's the perfect color. It is not too orange. It's not too cool. It's not shimmery. It's just the best, and it is called Bella Bronzer. And I have never ever, and we have a Seint artist group that only the artists can see, and I have never heard of anyone's clients, of any artist, of anyone not loving Bella. My own clients love it. I love it. And it just adds that pretty warmth to your skin. And so I'm gonna put that, I am going to put this in the spots where the sun will naturally kind of hit your face. And so I'm gonna put it on the top of my forehead, which is also around my hairline. So it kind of helps my forehead to recess back a little. And so it helps to add the curving, the 3D, the sculpted, chiseled look of your face so that it's not just flat one color. So we're gonna put that around the hairline, around the top of my forehead where the sun would naturally kind of hit you up here. And then I just take that maybe a third of the way down and then just kind of blend it down to what's underneath. I always like to put a little bit on the tip of my nose, you know, when you get a little bit of sun on the tip of your nose, and then I put it just on the apples of my cheeks. And with this being a cream, and one of the reasons I love this brush with it rather than just tapping it onto my skin is when I swirl it with this brush, it like polishes it up like if you're buffing and polishing a shiny marble floor, and it just gives you that extra shine. Not a bad shine like oily, but it gives you this glow that young skin has that makes it look supple and younger. And who does not want that after you hit adulthood? So the middle, or the apples of my cheeks, and then we'll go ahead, do it on the bottom of my chin. And then also I go ahead and do it along the bottom of my jawline. Now this isn't necessarily somewhere where the light or the sunlight would naturally hit it, but it does add to a sculpted jaw. And so if you want it to make it look like you have a more chiseled jaw, and even if you already have a fairly chiseled jaw, it just looks nice and kind of completes your face and helps it to kind of like stick out and to help your face pop when you have this background shadow to it. And then I just take it down a little bit, and then this can kind of chisel your jaw and make it seem like you, like your face, give you a little bit of a facelift. And so I'll just take that all along there. And so the bronzer went around my face. It went on the tip of my nose and on the apples of my cheeks. Some people also will use it on their eyes as either a crease color or a lid color or a eyeliner. That I love bronzer for everywhere else. On me, I don't like the color on my eyes. There's something about it that it doesn't work for me, but I have seen it on other girls that it's amazing on. And so if you have Bella, try it. And then the last thing we're gonna do is the contour. And this one is Astoria, and it's the one that I use most often. Sometimes I'll go with a softer or a warmer one, but that's the one I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna use our 3D brush, and I'm gonna start with the domed end. That's the one that I like to use for this. And I just put a little on my brush. And then, so for contour, contour creates your shadows. It chisels. And so it's going to add to the 3D dimension to your face. It's going to make things recede that you want to recede. Like if you have a larger forehead, if you have a big chin, if you have jowls coming down, it's going to help minimize those. And it is also going to sculpt and give your face a lift. So we're gonna do it under the cheeks. It's automatically gonna give you a cheek lift. We're gonna do it along the jawline. It's automatically gonna give you a lift there. And so it has several things that it does and helps with. And I go ahead and I blend it just a little bit back into my hairline too, so I don't have like a super white scalp just inside my hairline. And I put that over where I put the bronzer, but I keep this one probably a little closer to my hairline. The bronzer I was freer to come down with, and the contour, I do blend it with everything, but I don't try to pull it down as far. And then we'll go ahead and put it along my jawline, give that a little extra chisel and sculpt. And then we'll go ahead and do my cheeks. I love the contour on my cheeks. So I do it on the bottom of my cheekbone, and sometimes that one I got a little bit low. Sometimes I go a little higher. But you want to put it on the bottom of your cheekbone, not under your cheekbone, because under your cheekbone is going to make it seem like your cheeks sag potentially, and you do not want it to look like you have sagging cheeks. You want to lift to your face. And so I put it a little high, and I put it on the bottom of my cheekbones. And this side I went a little lower than this side. It's cream makeup. So even though the contour makeup is a little drier, probably has less beeswax, I'm guessing, I don't know, but it is made with a drier formulation than the other creams because it's supposed to stay put. You don't want, even though the other makeup isn't gonna slide around your face, but you really want your contour to stay exactly. You don't want your shadow to be melting at all and shifting around. So I laid that with the pointy coned end, and then I just kind of buff and tap and stipple and blend that in. I start with the top and the back. Sometimes I don't even feel like I really even need to do the bottom. I mainly concentrate on the top. And this isn't complete until we add the cheek color. That's what's really going to balance everything out and make it look even better. And so that adds those higher cheekbones to your face. And then also, this is the last step for, well, not really, I guess, because I also do my lips a little bit, but the nose. A lot of people think that's excessive. I thought that was excessive. I thought, you know, I like my nose. I don't have a wide nose. I generally, you know, like the shape of it and everything. It's fine. But it makes such a difference and looks so much better. I can totally tell the difference in pictures. I can even tell the difference in person. And it just, to chisel your nose, it just looks really good. So may take you a little practice. It's not that hard, and you're gonna blend everything out. And but you will love the look and it'll become addictive after a while. So I use our multitasker brush because I like precision with this. And like I said, I don't have a really wide nose anyway. And so I like to be really precise. Some people use their fingers and just lay it with their fingers. So I just come along the natural bridge of my nose. Now, if you want it to make it look like your nose is much thinner, then you can absolutely bring those lines in tighter, and it's definitely going to give you a thinner nose look. And you just use your contour color, and I'm being a little careful because I had my eyebrows microbladed and they're still healing a little, so I'm not allowed to put makeup on those right now. But you do bring it up to your brows and then bring it down and loop it down under the ball of your nose. And I kind of like the ball of my nose, and so I don't mind getting a little wider down there to kind of accentuate the features of my nose I like. You may contour your nose in a different way depending on the shape of your nose. You may not have much of a ball at all. It may be totally skinny. And so, you know, this is going to be specific to what your nose is. But essentially, it's just like a thin U shape. Sometimes I'll cut across here to make it accentuate the tip more so it looks more like I have an upturned nose. And here in a second, we'll blend that out. But while I already have this on this brush, I will go ahead and put some under my big lip, or my bottom lip. And then we'll buff those out in a second. And then I take that 3D foundation brush and I just tap at it. And so we're not going to be erasing it. You don't want to erase it, but you do want it to just be like a shadow that they don't even notice. That looks natural, but you still get the benefits and the effects from it. Okay. And two more things to complete this look. We're gonna go ahead and add the cheek color. And I just accidentally got a little red on there. Okay, let's go with Sandstone today. I'm kind of in the mood for that. So Sandstone is this terracotta lip and cheek color. And I use my blush and bronzer brush. This is what I use for the bronzer. This is the best blush brush. It's super, super dense. It's super soft, super rounded. It will not bend. And you just stipple. It'll go exactly where you want. All of the other blush brushes that I've had have been kind of big and fluffy like this, which ends up going in way too large an area. And so you end up getting the look of like you have too much blush and it comes down too low. And so it makes it look like your cheeks are sagging. So this is the best. Our lip and cheeks, most of them are super duper duper pigmented, so it just takes a little dab. So don't get too much because it really shows. If I get a little too much, then I come over and add it to the other side. And then I just dot it from halfway up my cheeks and back. And it is a beeswax cream like the others, and so it melts into your skin and just gives this pretty like natural rosy glow. Now Sandstone is one of our satins, and so it's heavier, it's opaque, and it's not a gloss like a lot and most of the others. And so it's not going to be as shiny as the other. I do love the glosses because they give a little extra glow and they give that shine, just like the Bella bronzer I was talking about earlier. That gives you that supple, youthful skin glow. So I really do love those for that. You could go ahead and if you wanted, like add one of the glossy, like nude lip and cheeks, like Sadie over it just so it'd be soft enough, it wouldn't take over the color and really change the color much, and it'd give you that gloss. But we'll just stick with this today. And this is Sandstone. I'll go ahead just real quick. Usually, you see how it's completely opaque and it's super pigmented. I just put a tiny dab on my fingers, and your fingers are going to give you the most sheer wash on the lip and cheek colors. And so if I wanted a heavier concentration of color, I would have used the multitasker brush. But I'm just doing a quick look for that real quick. But I want to show you, so the last step in this, and it helps, it looks good, you don't have to do it, but it helps to further accentuate, it's like the cherry on top, is to add a little bit of Illuminator. And so we'll go with Pearl Illuminator. I almost always, sometimes I'll use a gold, but I almost always use this color for the tip of my nose because it's like a natural light look, but it draws your attention to here and reflects in a way that makes it look like it's reflecting because your nose is tilted up. And so that's why it's catching the light. And so I always like to put a little on the tip of my nose. A lot of times I will put it on the top here of my cheeks, not into my under eye, because this is like a little extra glow. It's like the light, you know, is not only reflecting on your skin like the Brightening Highlight, but it's just giving a little bit of extra glimmer. And so we're just adding a couple little accent spots. And so I put that here to make it look like my nose is turned up a little. I'll take some of this gold and we'll put it on the top here. You don't want to put it in your under eye because you don't want to accentuate fine lines. You want to put it at the top of your cheeks. I'm going really light, but it just kind of gives you that extra glow. You can absolutely go darker if you want. I'm just keeping it a little light today. And I got a little bit of that goldy powder mixed in. So our powders are more like disco balls. They are bright and loud and party ready. And I do absolutely use those. I use them also for eyeshadow sometimes, but I just want to keep it natural. And so our creams are more subtle. And then I will often use a little bit of Illuminator in the center of my lips just to help the light reflect here and to make it look like my lips are even bigger. And so that's how you use each of the colors. That is the thinking behind them, the process. And so if you want to see step by step, exactly this is where we put it, I have those videos, but hopefully this one kind of makes it more natural for you so that you don't have to think about the steps. You know what each does, and so you put them where you need to go and you don't have to think so much about it, and you can create a process that works best for you. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps me a bunch and it helps you to see my videos that I put out every week. And leave a comment if you found this video helpful. It encourages me a bunch and it does help me too. So share the video if you want, if you think that someone will find it helpful. And if you need to be color matched, or if you want any of these yummy eyeshadow colors or any of the lip and cheeks or any other Seint product we have, skincare brushes, whatever, then let me know and I would love to help you and work with you. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.